on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Dr. Phil. And today, our guest is the narrator. Please.
Dr. Phil?
Can you explain to the audience why you're here today?
Well, recently I've been feeling kind of isolated, like in general from my feelings, but also from society. It's really not a good thing.
What do you mean by isolated exactly? Explain so the audience understands.
Well, to be honest, I haven't really been very pleased with my life. It kind of feels like it's become this meaningless cycle. Like, it's very repetitive. I'll wake up, and then I go to work, and then I come home. I never really have time for any social encounters. Like, the only time I ever talk to people really is when I'm talking to my boss or I'm talking to the doorman at work. Yeah.
Interesting, but why do you say isolation in particular?
Well, to be honest, I don't know. I feel like the isolation just has had negative effects on me, and yeah, it's
Negative effects? Well, that does sound pretty harsh being isolated. But how are there negative effects on you?
well. For example, a little while back, I started going to some support groups. They were actually helping me. I had chronic insomnia. I could never sleep. And then eventually, once I started going to these support groups, they started helping me. They're beneficial. I was able to sleep and stuff. I kind of felt I didn't feel as isolated as I was. Like, I felt like I had a place in society, but then they were basically taken away from me. And after that, when they're taken away from me, the isolation came back immediately, and that's when things kind of took a turn for the worse. All right, in these times of isolation, though, I kind of met a friend of mine. His name's Tyler Durden. He's with me today, actually. Tyler, say hi to Dr. Phil.
Hey, Dr. Phil.
Tyler's talking to you.
My name's Tyler.
What's the problem? What's the problem?
Well, we can see the negative effects of isolation for sure. So,
What's wrong? Tyler, what's wrong?
we are back, and our final guest of today is Randall McMurphy. Please, Randall.
Dr. Phil, it's a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. He was moved to a psychiatric ward and talks about him and his colleagues are affected positively by isolation. Can you articulate this statement?
Well, I a little while back, I was actually in a prison, actually a prison farm, and I didn't like it very much. So I thought, hey, why not go to an insane asylum, right? Now, first you might be thinking, well, that's crazy. Like, literally, that's crazy. Why would you want to go there? So I was thinking, if I isolated myself from prison, there would be beneficial to me, Like, I didn't want to be in prison. I'd go to the insane asylum. It's more lenient and better off.
Fair observation. And how do your acquaintances at the ward feel about isolation?
Well, actually, a lot of them they think it's they think isolation's a good thing too. They like being isolated. In fact, a lot of the men there, they're not even committed to the ward. They admitted themselves. They find a comfort in being isolated from society where they don't exactly fit in, if you know what I mean.
I really don't. And
right, Ethan.
that's all we have today, folks.